What is up guys, it's Luck, YGO, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm bringing you my Gearfried the Iron Knight deck profile. That's right guys, Joey Wheeler is here together with his unbreakable Gearfried, and guys, by unbreakable I do mean unbreakable because of the deck skill, which is Iron Grit, and it says that Gearfried the Iron Knights you control are unaffected by card effects. And if any of you guys play in TCG, you know that being unaffected by card effects it's pretty broken, and guys, this deck is a very strong deck. Gearfried being unaffected makes it a very tough monster to deal with, together with the supporting cards we play in this deck. It's a very strong meta deck actually, and guys, it's a very easy deck to play also, since it has a simple playstyle and win condition. But let's get into the deck profile, and since I already did the skill, we can just move on into the main deck, and we start with triple copies of course, the Gearfried the Iron Knight. This guy is unaffected by card effects while on the field, and it also has an effect that will come up in this deck that says if either player equips an equipped card to this card, destroy that equipped card. And guys, that will come up in the feature, and I'll explain in a little bit why this is very relevant. Moving on, we also play double copies of Banisher of the Radiance. Guys, the guy that requested this deck profile asked for a Macrocosmos build, and this is the best option for me, that you can play the macro build, which is the Banishers, that banishes all the cards that are sent to the graveyard, because in my opinion Macrocosmos isn't a very good card to play right now, since everyone's playing Mystical Space Typhoon and that card just completely destroys Macrocosmos, so in my opinion it's not worth playing Macrocosmos at all, but this guy is indeed worth playing, since we can actually protect him with the traps that we play. Moving on, we also play double copies of Fossil Diamond Pachycephalo, and guys, this guy is basically a no special summons monster, and when it gets flipped face up, you can destroy all special summon monsters on the field, so this card helps the deck playstyle, which is normal summon and control the game slowly, while disrupting your opponent's graveyard and destroying their special summon monsters and destroying everything they throw at you, stopping their attacks and getting control of the game overall. And guys, lastly, to finish off the monsters, we also play one copy of the Warrior Lady, since we can search her in this deck, and sometimes we might not access the Banisher of the Radiance and need a way to deal with your opponent's monsters. She is here for that specific occasion. And this is all for the monsters, very monster small count, but it doesn't matter since we play a low card count in the deck and we got ways to search our monsters. But moving on into the spells, we start with double copies of Book of Moon, and these guys together with the Warrior Lady made a 3 of limited cards list on the deck, and the books are a very versatile and generic card that you can play pretty much against every single thing, and it also works in your own deck if you want to switch your own monsters to defense position, apart from the Gearfried the Iron Knight that is unaffected. And speaking of searching the monsters, like I said before, we do play double reinforcements of the army to search any warrior in this deck, in that case being the Gearfried, so we're basically playing 5 copies of Gearfried, and also if we need to search the Warrior Lady to get rid of your opponent's more annoying monsters they might have. Moving on, we play in the last spell one Offerings to Doom, just as another way to get rid of your opponent's more annoying monsters, since these decks with more weak points are decks that can consistently make big monsters on the field that can destroy the Gearfried Iron Knight by battle, and decks that actually have some decent grind game and do not easily die against destruction effects. So basically those two are the weak points of this deck, so basically big monsters with attack and actually decent survival against destruction. So moving on, and speaking of destruction, we play triple copies of Blast with Chain, and this is why the effect that I spoke of the Gearfried the Iron Knight early comes up. So basically, if you don't know, you can use Blast with Chain to equip to a monster, and that monster will gain 500 attack. But it also has an extra line that says if this card is destroyed by a card effect while equipped, you can target one card on the field and destroy that target. And guys, even though the Gearfried isn't affected by card effects, you can still equip it with your Blast with Chain. But then his effect will activate and you destroy the Blast with Chain automatically, and then the Blast with Chain will trigger and you can destroy one of their cards, and in Speed Duel destroying one of their cards with this match consistency is actually a very strong tool to have against many decks. And guys, speaking of destroying cards, we also play double copies of Widespread Ruin, just as a way to defend ourselves from aggressive decks and destroy their bigger monsters that can actually walk over the Gearfried, so that way we keep Gearfried alive on the field and can control the game from there. And lastly, to finish up the deck, we also play double copies of Paleozoic Canadia, and guys, I know these are not the Speed Duel variants, but I do not have enough Speed Duel meter destruction to go around, so I have to use some PCG proxies that I have lying around for the decks. And guys, this is here for the same purpose of almost the Widespread Ruin, which is controlling the field, get rid of their monsters, putting them in defense position so that way our monsters can walk over their own, and just basically a way to deflect their attacks and survive and get control of the game from there on out. So this is all for the main deck, and now we move on into the extra and side deck. And the extra deck is one Arcana Nightchoker, Cyberblader, Cyber and Dragon, Ojama King, Destiny and Dragoon, and Thousand Eyes Restrict, So guys, probably you guessed it already, the standard Waking the Dragon package that we do play on our side deck, as I'll show you guys in a little bit. And speaking of side deck, let's move on into it, and we start with the double copies of New Special Grand Mole. This card is here just as a great alternative to deal with some monsters, because when this card attacks or is attacked at the start of the damage step, when battling an opponent's monster, you can return both the monster and this card to the hand. So it doesn't matter if the monsters face up, face down, they'll just go back to the hand, and this way you do not take the battle damage, neither do they, so keep that in mind. This is a very good way to deal with some specific monsters your opponent might have. For example, like some tribute summons, like Jinzo, you can just summon these, shuffle them back to the hand, and that way they won't be able to negate your traps anymore. Or for example, imagine your opponent's playing fossils, you can actually side this in, because if they do attack this, you can just activate the effect and shuffle them back to the hand. That way you will not lose all of your life points from the attack of the Skullgios, because this activates before the damage calculations. So moving on into the rest of the side deck, we also play double copies of the Fusion to deal with heavy fusion decks like fossils, Dynatank, or wherever rogue stuff that's lying around in your locals. And guys, keep in mind, the side deck is locals dependent, so keep that in mind. It might not apply to you what I'm playing as it applies for me. So we also play one Lost Wind, just a generic very good card against the heavy special summoning decks. And finally, just like I mentioned, I do play one copy of Waking the Dragon for our extra deck targets, and since we play a lot of traps in this deck, it's always worth it when you do playing something like Waking the Dragon, because your opponent will constantly be trying to destroy your traps, and that way, if he does run into the Waking the Dragon, the next time he'll activate something to destroy, he'll think twice before popping your back row, because he might be thinking, okay, that might be Waking the Dragon, let me be careful. But anyway guys, this is all for the deck profile, and now guys, I'm gonna show you the entire deck list for you guys to take a look, and if you guys want to copy the deck for yourselves. And guys, like I said, this is the perfect deck for someone who's trying to learn the game and who wants to try and get some easy wins, because this deck is very strong and it's very easy to play. So here you guys have the entire main deck list, and guys, feel free to copy this for yourselves if you want to try out the Gearfried strategy, which is a very strong and reliant strategy to have because of its natural invulnerabilities against decks and basically game mechanic disruption with the Banisher and the traps. And here you guys have the entire extra and side deck for you guys to copy as well, but do keep in mind, like I mentioned before, this side deck changes depending on your local scene, so this might not apply to you as well as it does apply for me. But guys, anyway, this is it for today's deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please consider subscribing to the channel, as it will help me out a lot. And if you liked the video, feel free to leave a like down below, and if you guys have some ideas on what to change in the deck, or some decks you want to see in the future, please feel free to comment down below, as I do read all of your comments and am more than happy to try my best to bring you what you ask for down in the comments below. But guys, once again, thanks for watching the video, and like always, this is Luck YGO, and I'll see you on the next video.